What's up, people? My name is Shaggy, the opinionated hippie. I recently, as in right before a short little vacation in which I spent way too much time in the sun, posted a video ranking and reviewing the Peter Gabriel albums. This is now my list of my top 10 favorite Peter Gabriel songs. I realized, pretty much not until I wrote these down, that I really like the slow stuff a lot better than the upbeat fast stuff. Though there is one song on this list that might qualify as the happiest pop R&B song of all time, and another one that might qualify as the happiest, most upbeat folk song of all time. So two remarkably upbeat songs, plus a bunch of other stuff. At the end of this video, I will be putting up a list, a snapshot of the list, so I won't be numbering them or anything. I'm just going to talk through them really quick. And also, I got to this point because I started the channel to do all things Frank Zappa. I expanded out the big note. Chester Thompson played with Zappa. Chester Thompson played with Genesis. Though, because Peter Gabriel left, Chester Thompson played with Genesis. Bill Bruford also played with Genesis, and Bill Bruford has ties to King Crimson, where Adrian Belew played. There's a whole bunch of interlocking ties. That's all we're going to talk with. But anyways, on to the songs. And here we go. Number 10, Shock the Monkey. The song that got me into Peter Gabriel in the first place. I bought the single. Soft Dog was on the other side. And then I loved that so much I eventually bought the album, Security, and that opened up the Peter Gabriel world for me. I do want to give a shout out to back in 2019, there was an all digital release that was pretty much a retrospective of Peter Gabriel's entire career. But every track was a B-side or a remix or an extended version or a single version or a live version. I think there were a couple soundtrack songs on there. It is like the most marvelous, unexpected, eclectic journey. And I bring it up because Soft Dog, which was the B-side to Shock the Monkey, was released on there, along with a couple other juicy B-sides from like the So era. But anyways, I think it's a phenomenal listen. It's like 6 hours of music. It's one of those best played on shuffle because you'll just bounce around the eras. Not all the remixes are good. Some of them are friggin' fantastic. Some of them aren't. But I think it's a really good listen. I highly recommend it. It's only digital. It's out there in the streaming world. Check it out if you want to explore 6 hours of different versions of all your favorite Peter Gabriel songs. Number 10, Shock the Monkey. Number 9, Mercy Street. The absolutely perfect, exquisite, somewhat haunting, somewhat unsettling sort of ballad off of So. Absolutely one of those you want to listen in with headphones and just immerse yourself in the entire sonic world that Peter has created. I compare this to Tea in the Sahara from the Police because I both think they bring a certain like elegance to those albums, though this is a little more intense than Tea in the Sahara is. But anyways, just an absolutely beautiful song. Number 8, My Head Sounds Like That. Title says it all. It's one of those kind of like just uncomfortable, slow burning ballads that does have, maybe some weird little like mixing going on, a weird little clunky funk section towards the end where things get a little more chaotic, but for the most part it's like a really unsettling, just kind of like it like draws you in but at the same time doesn't welcome you type song off of the underrated Up. I think it's sort of, even though it occurs on the back half of the album, I think it's kind of the centerpiece of that album. Just a phenomenal song. Exposure, absolutely amazing, just kind of the closest thing Peter Gabriel gets to playing just straight funk. Really cool kind of prog funk bassline groove. Fripp's doing a whole bunch of textures over it. It's mostly an instrumental with a little bit of lyrics that kind of creep in towards the end. A lot of this long, you get it, exposure, and then Peter spits out some lyrics really quick, but it's mostly just this really just kind of not noisy, but just this like really kind of funk jam that just has this layer of just like, I don't know, just frippness over it. It's a very neat piece that, again, I think it might be the centerpiece of the second album, Peter Gabriel 2. Just a phenomenal little piece of music. That's 7. Number 6, Family Snapshot. A nice piano ballad off the third album. It's kind of about somebody who's feels forgotten and ignored his whole life. So in order to like make a stand in the world, he decides to assassinate somebody. And it's kind of seen from his point of view, and then like watch the experience of watching it on TV, and it ends with like him sort of reflecting his hierarchy, his Maslow's hierarchy of needs have not been met, and so this is how he lashes out. Kind of a haunting portrayal of in a way, gun violence and the people who commit it, which, you know, still in America is unfortunately quite a relevant topic. But anyways, just a beautiful song, builds to a nice, not frenetic pace, but the energy of the event that's depicted is carried along musically. Just amazing, amazing song. Number 5, Humdrum. Weird little all over the place prog rock number with like a ballad and a little calypso type vibe maybe in there off the first album, with an absolutely, I'm not going to compare it to the end of Supper's Ready, but I'm going to compare it to the end of Supper's Ready. Like that last part of Supper's Ready when it's like the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, that part when it's just like you feel like the sun is rising on the entire world and everything is going to be okay. The ending of this doesn't have quite that same the sun is rising, everything's going to be okay epic feel, but it does have this sort of lift at the end that makes you feel like, all right, we're on to something just a little more majestic and a little more grand. And it's kind of this little humdrum. The entire song is like this little kind of like 3-part journey into like these different vibes, and it just ends in this quite affirming, majestic type feel that I'm not going to directly compare it to Supper's Ready, because Supper's Ready is like near perfection, but it's Peter Gabriel's closest I think he got to that specific emotion on any of his solo albums. 4, Here Comes the Flood. Beautiful ballad. Just starts off with piano. There's a really bombastic chorus where it's like, Lord, here comes the flood. And you can almost see like Noah just like calling forth the flood. But the Secret World Tour? No, not the Secret World Tour. Yes, the Secret World Tour. A very good, he would open up with just playing this solo on the piano. Phenomenal, just beautiful. Such an amazing performance. The melody is so perfect. His vocalization, the way he sings it is so perfect. I dated somebody once who was like, every time we listened to Genesis or Peter Gabriel, she was just like, that man, like, he is the most unique singing voice. Like, who thought that is a marketable singing voice? And I think when it is like, only he can deliver certain lyrics in that sort of Peter Gabriel style. Here Comes the Flood. It's just that perfect sort of like trying to like give humanity hope, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, a powerful song. Number 3, Sledgehammer, possibly the happiest pop song ever made. Love this song. Talked about how we put it on our wedding CD when my wife and I got married. It was the first song the DJ played when we turned the ceremony immediately into the reception/party. A great song. I play it for my kindergarten class every year. They dance like crazy. They love it. Yeah, it's the funkiest he ever got, with that weird clunky funk that he does. He would try it many other times, especially in the albums following this. This is perfection, because I think what works is it builds towards that call and response at the end, where you have the, you know, it's almost like a double call and response, because he says a line and somebody else, and I think they repeat it a third time, right? And it just builds and builds and builds, and just such a ridiculously, if you listen to this song, you don't want to get up and move a little, I feel bad for you. Number 2, Family in the Fishing Net. This was the song that immediately turned Security from the album that had Shock the Monkey to what I now consider his best album. Once I sort of unraveled the mysteries of this song, it's about a wedding ceremony, pretty sure, about marriage in general, relationships between people, you know, the whole thing about the woman being wrapped up in now the bonds of marriage, and the knife cutting the flesh, and just like what it means to be like bonded in matrimony or just human connections all together. And it's all twisted, and the music is kind of underlying and creepy, and it builds to a little bit of there's a little bit of a climax, but it never gets really too high or too crazy. It just gets a little more intense, enough to like maybe give you release, but not enough to make you go, it's just a perfect 7 minutes of music. It is just so good, and just the weird noises that happen, and the use of the electronics. Like, nobody uses like drum machines and electronics better than Peter did, and like especially this album and the album that preceded this. Were there drum tracks on the album that preceded this? I'm sure there were. And my number 1 song, the greatest song Peter ever wrote, Salisbury Hill. Bum, 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 ba, da, ba. How can you not, again, feel happy when you hear this, even though, I mean, yeah, it's a happy song. It's about moving on. It's about, like, realizing you were in one place and you need to go someplace else, and you're going to embrace that opportunity and take me home wherever my new home may be. Just a phenomenal, uplifting song. And it's getting hot in this room because it's 106 out there in that Texas heat. So you can get rooms super cold, but as soon as you turn off that air conditioning so that you can hear yourself speak, things go wrong quickly. But anyways, those are my favorite Peter Gabriel songs. Let me know which ones I forgot to put on there, because I know I could add 15, 20 more easily, and I would feel proud of that fact. Whatever. But anyways, thanks. Comment below. You know how it works, people. Thanks for watching. Go check out these songs if you haven't, because I think these are his best. Yeah, that's it. Take care, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Peace, and talk to you later.